Okay, Mark, now you can do that.
Okay, all right. Call to order at 7:02. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
All,
Hi.
I'm not seeing anybody except for people who are officially here.
Right.
So I guess we'll move on to the minutes.
Kathy
Okay.
Donahue is coming in now.
Okay.
Okay, she's on now.
All right.
Hi, Kathy.
Good evening.
Kathy,
Hi.
it's Frank. I just wanted to make sure you are aware that if anything happens, that somebody cuts into the meeting and starts to disrupt the meeting I will immediately stop the meeting.
Okay.
And then I'll recall it in a different room. Same, you'll go to the same access point. 5 minutes after that ending, because we had a
Okay.
terrible time at the last Board of Ed meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I was good with the minutes. I guess the only question, Dr. Ola, is they talked about having the paraprofessionals on the buses
They were on the
for the
buses.
first two. Are they on them still or they
No.
don't?
No, we're
They're
not,
not on them?
not anymore.
Okay.
Do we,
I was on one and Nikki Sales was on the other one.
Okay. And then, so the buses are arriving about when they need to, the school started, school's been fine.
As far as I am aware at this point, the bus schedule has kind of straightened out, I guess is the way to say it, because we went from 3 to 2. The bus drivers didn't know all of the exact routing, so they at the beginning of school were running later than they should have, but that's simply because they didn't know the route as well. She knows the route and the new students that she didn't know before, both of them.
Right.
So it seems to be running better. Although from what my understanding is, I literally just spoke with Sherry, who is our connection with EastCon, and they're saying that the afternoon bus ride, there are more students, and therefore therefore there's a difference every day in terms of when exactly the schedule stop is going to be made. So some parents have been concerned about that, but it's getting straightened out. And if necessary, we'll put a para on the bus. Again, I spoke with Sam to make sure that the kids are social distancing, because what seems to be happening is on one bus in particular, and I've talked to Sherry about this, that the students are kind of talking to each other from the side of the bench. So they're not keeping social distance. So we'll put the para on the bus and to enforce that social distancing regulate. They have to sit in their seat face forward with their masks on, covering nose and mouth throughout the entire bus ride. And the bus driver has been notified that she needs to enforce that rule, even if the para is not on the bus.
Frank, have we been able to keep the same bus drivers consistently?
Yes.
Good.
we're kind of way off topic here.
All right, yeah.
It was
I
in the
was gonna say
minutes.
it, I was gonna pull it in the minutes, but so, all right, I was fine with the minutes though. Anybody else, any comments?
I'm
Okay.
fine with the minutes also.
All right. All right, as 5-year plan, Dr. Ola, I think topics I wanted to kind of go over was the playground. I think that unit came in.
It did. It's
Any
sitting,
plans for putting that up?
yes, we're looking at a company to put it in. But nothing has been decided at this point because we just literally got it a couple of days ago.
You have a company to put it in?
There is a company that we're looking at to put it in, yes.
How much will that cost?
I don't know yet. They have to look at the specs and will give us a price.
We weren't gonna get volunteers to help with that?
It's a liability issue.
We talked about that, we probably could, but I think also, isn't this gonna be covered under the ESSER 3 grant?
Yes, it is not
Oh.
going to be part of our school budget. It's part of the ESSER grant.
Okay,
And then how about the mini splits?
Actually, Mary Ellen could probably adjust that better than I can. I wasn't present at the meeting.
Yeah. Yesterday, yesterday, I went around with Andy and I brought his card. A person from, well, I can't find his card at the moment.
Stafford Mechanicals.
Stafford Mechanical, yeah. And we looked at all the rooms that Frank had identified as needing the mini splits. And then I also asked that he look at all the other rooms and figure out the price of just what we had asked for, but then how much more would the additional rooms in the school cost. I also asked if he had any way to figure out how much oil we would save. And I don't know if there's an answer for that, you know, if we were able to use that. But we walked all around. The gym itself, not the music room, which is on the stage, that has a door that can be closed and there can be a mini split to cool that. But the gym itself, evidently, Andy says, gets quite hot. That can't be part of the Eversource grant money because it would actually add electric use to it rather than reduce the amount of use. Because basically you're trying to cool a very, very, very big area. So Andy and he talked about what could be done there. Andy's idea is to put fans facing the front of the school up on the wall. They can't be on the ceiling, but fans in and out in air exchange to get some ventilation in that room. But yeah, so we did a walk around. It took about an hour and they'll get back to us. He will figure out the cost of using an Eversource grant. And I believe putting the cost to us on our electric bill. I think that's the way it'll go.
Okay. So I mean, if we
That's
get to
good.
a point where it's not cost prohibitive to do all of them, is he gonna break it down? Do you know that we can know like how many per unit or per?
Yes, he's gonna break it down. The rooms that were identified by Frank were second grade, 3, 4, 5, 6. And
Art
I
room,
thought it all
music room.
started with kindergarten and pre-K.
Those
They
are all
have 'em.
done.
They're done?
those are done.
Oh. Sorry, I probably knew that.
Was that
Have they
it?
just
the-
recently been done, or when were those done again? Last year?
One was done last year, one was done this summer.
Oh, okay.
That was ESSER money 2, 1, 2.
That was the first ESSER fund.
All
Yeah,
right.
ESSER 2, I guess it is. ESSER 3 is the one that we're looking at now.
Okay. Good, all right, well, that would be, get them all in pretty good shape and, definitely support, like you said, going to the. Now, was the pre-K and the kindergarten one done with the combined units, or did they end up just being the cooling unit?
Just to
They have
cool.
heat. Andy said they have heat and cooling.
Oh, he did? Oh,
He said,
okay.
yeah, he said your office and the server room are cooling only. And then kindergarten and pre-K are heat and cooling.
Okay.
That's
I
what he
didn't-
said.
I
I didn't
didn't,
look at them, but
Okay. All right,
I think music was included in what you
Yeah.
had said, Frank.
I asked for
The
music and
stage,
art also.
yeah. Oh, okay. I'm not sure if the art got put on the right list then. So his name is Robert Palmater from Stafford Mechanical. So we'll hear soon.
And then as far as the energy use for those, I mean, would our solar cover it? Probably not, I mean,
I don't know. I gotta get a hold of the bills and I haven't done that. And as far as how much draw it will take, I don't know.
okay.
I
All
mean, that's some sort of an engineering feat that
Right.
beyond me.
Yep. Fair enough. All right, as far as other 5 years plan or just other pressing topics, Dr. Oler, is there anything going on that we should know about from the F and O standpoint?
No, the only other issue that you will need to address at the Board of Ed meeting is this issue of funding. Because we ordered the equipment for technology and the, what was the second one? Technology, and the Playscape, obviously. Before the June 30th deadline, back in either early May or late May. And the deliveries, well, obviously the Playscape just got here, even though it said in their catalog, it's a 1 week order period. At this point, we're still going back and forth with the auditor. So I've asked Sally to have you as a board approve the line item transfers and the encumbrances in the amount of somewhere near $37,000. I don't remember exactly what it is. In terms of total line items that will cover those 2 sets of materials that were ordered before the 30th and never received. And in fact, the technology still hasn't been received. And the auditor is giving us a hard time. So essentially, what we've heard from him today is that he feels that the technology equipment was ordered and can be held off as a 2021 expenditure. But the Playscape, even though we ordered it on June the 5th, they invoiced it on June 29th, and he says that that's unacceptable. So therefore, it can't be used under the 2021 budget. However, what I've asked Sally to do is just recommend to the Board of Ed is to approve the encumbrances in the total amount. And if there is a question or if there's a controversy, we will report it to the state as you vote on it. And then the Board of Finance and the auditor can talk, and somehow the money's never been spent, so it's still there. If in fact the Board of Finance chooses not to approve that encumbrances of the Playscape, then we'll have to find the money in this current budget. So that's the only update that I have that's concerning to this particular issue of the COVID impacted lack of delivery of materials in a timely fashion.
I'm a little confused. So are you saying that for the Playscape, let's use 2020, 2021 versus 2021, because right now that's a little confusing to me. So
Okay.
the Playscape was basically, the invoice was by June 29th. So theoretically, it could have been part of the 2020, 2021 budget. However, he's saying that that's really not acceptable because we didn't install it, it wasn't in service by that date.
Right, right, by the June 30th date, even
Right.
though the shipment obviously just arrived 2 days ago.
Right.
All
So
right,
he's saying that that should really be on the 2021-2022 budget that
correct.
we're into right now.
That would think that that's an inappropriate encumbrance of funding. And therefore, he is not going to,
Right.
at this point, approve it, as it were, approve it. He doesn't approve or not approve. He just writes up the report as to
Right.
what happens. The Board of Finance can make the determination if the Board of Education approves the encumbrance we make. We're projecting that we want to have approved. And if the Board of Finance will approve it, the expenditure, because they have the money.
Yeah.
But the order was actually placed on June the 5th. And in the, as I said, in the catalog, it says 1 week delivery. Well, obviously the catalog was printed way before the COVID issue. And we made an erroneous assumption that we would be able to get it within,
Yeah.
2 weeks or whatever it was, but obviously that didn't pan out.
All right. And then the technology part of it, which we still don't have, that will also have to be part of the 2021-2022 budget.
At this point, no, because we ordered it at the end of May.
Oh,
And therefore, the expectation would have been that, yes, it could have been there in time to be used. Unfortunately, because of COVID, it wasn't. So,
sounds like that's kind of a double standard from the
Well,
auditor standpoint, if you ask me. I mean,
the way he
he's
described
taking
it
one
is-
thing that we got late and saying it's fine, and the other thing he's saying you got late and it's not okay. So they don't barter with audit findings. So I guess.
right, auditors,
Well, I guess my big question on the Playscape, I thought, is it just the installation that's gonna be under ESSER 3 funds? I thought the purchasing the Playscape was gonna be under grant money too.
no, the purchasing of the Playscape was under our regular budget, because instead of buying a whole Playscape, we said, well, let's just buy one unit
Oh,
of
okay,
a Playscape. And that we had the funding for. That was ordered on June the 5th. The problem
I know
is
that.
that the company invoiced us on June 29th. And that's the difference, because the
Right.
technology company invoiced us on the day it was purchased with our PO number.
Right.
And we didn't have to
Um,
pay it until delivery, but they invoiced us. So it goes really back to you guys to say, as a Board of Ed, we accept the encumbrances as presented by the business manager and the superintendent. As,
But we could pay for that. I mean, I guess it's still out of this year's budget, but we could pay for that playground out of general funds, or we could go, I'm not the capital non-recurring fund.
well, yeah, I don't know where the 37,000 and change wound up in the town's financial records. Those encumbrances, I don't know how your town operates relative to the financing and so forth. So I can't just say that that's the case. I believe the Board of Finance, if the Board of Education says we vote to encumber, the auditor says, well, part of it is okay, but the other part isn't okay. And then it goes to the Board of Finance to make the determination as to whether or not they feel that it's appropriate to pay for it because it was ordered in a timely fashion but never received, and the money is there and was appropriated for it. It ultimately goes back to the town as to whether or not they're going to pay for it. And if they choose not to pay for the Playscape, then I have to find that 17,239, and I know that one by heart. That 17,000 plus funding someplace in the current budget in order to pay the invoice.
So Frank, when you keep saying encumbering, you're talking about you want to encumber it for 2021, 2020-21.
Yes, right, out
Last
of
year.
that budget,
Okay,
which is the one that you're going to be moving line items for on the 27th. You're gonna move to straighten out our budgeting process. At the end of every year, you always move lines from monies from one line to another line to balance out the lines. And that's the encumbrance we're hoping we will be able to have you vote positively for. And then
Take-
hopefully the
take this
Board of
for one.
Finance will vote positively for and be able to allow us to fund it out of the 2021 budget.
Come backwards. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
All right, so ultimately, isn't that like ultimately when we get all that figured out and the 2021 books are settled, that's the money that, Rose, you have to end up
The law
presenting
is,
to,
the ordinance says I can only ask for 20,000. I didn't have the figures in time to meet the deadline to ask for any more. And I have until, I want to say November to do it,
ask for the 20,000,
just the 20,000.
right? And that'll just go into our capital non-recurring.
Yeah.
Okay,
And for use for projects like the paving and playscape.
right.
Yeah.
So the other thing about Playscape, before I forget this detail, is it's not a lot of money, but the DePuy fund, there is a playground fund that we also have established $1,000 or so that from the DePuy family that could be used as well, I think, for this, and we can always ask for, volunteers. Actually, the other day I had the day off, so I brought the scrap from the playground. So I got to talk to Sally about writing a check to the Hampton school playground fund for like $200 for the scrap that I brought for that, so that could go towards it too. So there's some stuff out there. So anyway, Kathy, did you have your hand up? Sorry.
Yeah, okay. I just want to be clear because it went back and forth. So the 17,239 is for the actual playscape equipment. If you ask for 20,000 can be returned, if you ask by November and the board votes to return that, that would be ample to cover the 17,239. And then the actual installation of it, there will be SR3 grants available to actually do to pay for the install.
That's correct.
Okay.
Not quite though, because we're not asking for the 20,000 for the playscape. We're asking for it so that the money that we were allotted last year, and we did our very best to spend, but COVID prevented, so that we could use that fund, because the town approved it. The money's there, and we're going to request it for that. The 20,000 is going to go into capital non-recurring and hopefully help with the parking lot, paving the parking lot, and new, further playground equipment.
Okay, and then the DePuy money, Mark, you said there's basically a balance of almost $1,000 in there that can be used toward that they've agreed to then.
My understanding, I think Sally has the figures of what it actually is, but there is some allocated money that we've set aside for that playground.
Okay, thank you.
and I asked, is the DePuy money the money that originally put up the sunroom?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
And was that money specifically allocated to playground, or can it be used to repair the sunroom?
I think
My-
they wanted to have it involved with the playground.
Yes, they did. I think that they were feeling that if the repairs in the sunroom that 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 was sort of cost prohibitive, and that it would have more of an impact if it got things going for getting the playground going.
And can I ask if anybody's checked? I was thinking of going in there when I was in the school yesterday to see, is it leaking at all?
Not inside the building, just inside, in between the windows.
It is.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's not,
where
it's
does
not
what do you
entering, it's not. There's like two panes with space in between.
Yeah,
And there's certain sections, not the whole thing, but certain sections where if it's raining really hard, it will rain into inside. And then it drains back out, but it doesn't go inside of the building. It just goes back outside.
sounds like it's a matter of time though, that it comes in through the second glass.
Yep.
I did.
Well, if it
ask
freezes,
the-
if it freezes when
Yeah.
it's in between the two panes, that could be a big problem.
I did ask the guy who came to my house to repair. He did come to Hampton Elementary 2-3 years ago and looked at that. I asked him for an estimate because I think we might have to fundraise to get that repaired, replaced. And I, at that point, took photos. This was this summer. I took photos of it because all the glass shows the fogging and the staining between the glass, except for the stained glass piece. So it doesn't make sense to replace 90%. You know, it looks like it needs redoing. But he's an extremely busy person. He's the only repair person that I ever found that deals with Florian greenhouses. You know, that's factory certified kind of guy. So I'll bug him again because what I asked him for was a cost, you know, an estimate of how much it would cost to replace the glass. And I'll bug him again. I think we're going to have to address it at some point soon, either through fundraised or something before we have some real damage.
Okay. All right, I don't think I had anything else for the 5-year plan discussion. Anybody else, questions, concerns? All right.
Floor looks
Um,
good. The entryway, you know, it looks great. It's nice and bright. The floors look great. I thought the building looked really good yesterday. And we got compliments from Robert from Stafford Mechanical on the building.
Oh, good.
I'll let Andy know. Thank you.
Oh, Andy was there. He heard.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
All right. I'll put the sunroom repair in the 5-year plan too, which I'm still delinquent on getting reestablished, but I did find my notes from that meeting tonight as I went through my 5-inch stack of paperwork. So, all right. As far as 2021, 2022 budget, I have it on the agenda just to see if there's any pressing issues for this year's budget that we have to deal with, except that what we already talked about.
We're right on the money at this point for through August 31st. So we're for the 21-22 budget. Things are looking very good at this point.
That's
Good.
I would hope. If we were in trouble already, that would be scary.
Yes, right. I just want to comfort you.
All right. All right. Does anybody else have anything else on questions on the budget or anything? Thank you, Kathy. Saw that chat. All right, any audience for staff and citizens? Kathy?
Okay, I just have a question. Whatever happened with the paving? I sent information to Rose about when, it had been approved and we keep holding that off from year to year. Not the finance board, but that project's not being done. And, I know it's getting more expensive, product getting more expensive, so is labor, et cetera, for this. So it's actually gonna cost us more each year we hold it off. Has there been any movement on that or?
Alan blocked it. Alan said this isn't the time to do it and blocked it.
Well, technically, that money's been approved by our town, for the expenditure. You can take, I don't know, Mark, what the newest balance, what the difference is between the original bid and our most recent
Right.
bid.
It was about $20,000. It went up from about 140 to 165 was the, or 163 was the, so I think, yeah, one from 142 to 163.
Okay, because, the difference could be taken out of your CNR account with the approval of the Board of Finance. I just, the longer we put this off, the longer, the more expensive this is going to be for the town. I
don't disagree with you. I was trying to get it done for this summer and I, talked to Alan multiple times about it, just privately and, when he would join in these meetings and like Rose said, he just would not budge.
So why don't we
About
just
doing
do
it.
it anyway and send the bill through the Board of Finance and ignore Alan?
Well, I think that if you have the proposal, send them forward to the Board of Finance and ask that, the balance be paid out of the CNR fund, and then the Board of Finance can decide whether to approve that or not, and then.
Well, but Kathy, the Board of Finance only approves putting money in the CNR
No,
account.
if you look at the ordinances, both
And the ordinance takes precedent over state law?
the ordinance, if you have a town ordinance, it can go beyond what the state law requires. So yeah, so the
Okay.
ordinance, the town approved it, so we'd have to follow the ordinance in order to be able to do it. But, you do have funds there, and I'm just concerned because it's only gonna continue to go up. I'm not even sure whether we could get on somebody's schedule for, before the plant shuts down at this point, but I just, knowing that it's continuing to climb is an issue. And, the town voted to approve, the major portion of that funding, so that's what I would do at this point. I didn't know whether you had spoken with McGee, Mark, or not, and, but, the money is there and approved.
You know
How much was
more money
approved?
is in the, that municipal fund?
Hang on, let me look. You have 143,804 and 84 cents in that municipal fund right now, in reserve for the Hampton School.
Specifically for paving?
It was for paving, that was set up for, I don't have it in front of me, but that was set up for different projects at the school, but paving the lot was one of them.
And,
I have to go back.
and what was approved? Was it a specific project that was approved or was it?
I'd have to
No,
go back.
Generally.
it was the generator, I think was one of them. I think it was, it may have been the back paving. I don't know if that was our CNR fund or not, but, and then it was the,
I think the
it
back
was the
paving,
front-
you paid for the back paving, and this paving was supposed to be, the additional paving that was required. I sent the
Yeah.
minutes, but that's something I'd have to look up as far as the specific
Right.
language. I can resend it again.
the sticky point I thought was the way that that passed was that the project had to be worked through the selectmen. I think that's what I had understood, but maybe I was wrong. So that's the path I went down, but if we can go a different path and see if we can get it done, I'm all for that, so.
Well, once something's in the budget and it's in a capital non-recurring fund, it has to be set for that item. It doesn't revert back to the general fund. The balance would revert back once the,
Right.
all the work was completed, but it doesn't revert back till then. So that money is sitting there at this point.
Okay.
Accounted for in that fund.
I'll have to
mean,
dust
it
off.
seems- At this time of the year, though, it's going to cause disruptions to do that front parking lot.
That's what I'm saying. It's something, I'm just saying that the money is there. The only way you would be able to do it at this time of the year would be able, is to try to schedule it over some kind of break period. And I don't think, knowing paver
Too late.
schedules, I'm not sure you'd be able to get in at this point because it's like, yeah. But that isn't, a way to go about it and to be able to get
Okay.
it done. I can talk to Alan about it too again to see if, I can get anywhere.
All right, I'll go find the emails because I think I had emails from last spring when we asked for quotes again on what the different quotes had been. I think I had forwarded them to you, Dr. Ola, but I think I have them saved. I'll dust those off and, understand what it was from the spring, and we probably would have to go out to bid again.
That'd be-
Unfortunately, which, and to your point, Kathy, the costs probably have only gone up, so.
Mhm.
But some of these companies might be willing to honor the cost that they had from the spring at least. I don't know. It is a school, so.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
No, that was my only question, and I wrote down the notes for the other stuff. So I'm all set. Thank you.
It doesn't look like we would have the money to contribute both to that and to the 20,000 or the 17,239.
If you ask for the additional 20,000, and I don't have the ordinance in front of me, but I believe you have to ask by that, if Rose is right, in November, then the balance in the account would be 60,219. So you would probably have enough to make up the difference of doing both.
Couldn't we also, like for the school paving, couldn't we also maybe split it with the town? Like, why can't the town contribute some to out of the general fund out of the town?
Well, the town did contribute it. That's where your reserve came from, that when we approved it.
No, I understand that, but I mean, we still have general funds of the town, right?
Yeah, we do have general fund. We do have funding in the
Right.
town, but the,
Right. So, I mean, to Mary Ellen's point, if we need to go ahead and for some reason we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, maybe that's an option, that's all.
yeah. But, so the letter, at this point, submitting the letter, you don't have to wait to, excuse me, I'm sorry, my throat's dry. If you don't have to wait to submit the letter to November for the 20,000, you can
Right.
approve submitting the letter now, and then that would bring that balance up to the 60,219. So that's set aside as long as Board of
Right.
Finance also approves it.
Yeah.
So,
All right. All right, well, more to come
We
on
may be a
that.
little short. We may be a little short of the 20,000 depending on the cost of the 17,239, what the actual balance is. Frank said something around 37,000. And the cost of the playscape is a little more than the 17, so the balance may be slightly less than 20.
No, that's separate funding, different funds. The encumbrance, let's just use round figures. The encumbrance of 40,000 is for equipment ordered that already was within our budget.
Mhm.
We also had the 2% that we had. So we had more, about 60 some odd $1,000 that we did not spend. One
Oh,
of them,
okay,
40, and then the 20, okay?
okay. I didn't
not-
realize that there was 20,
Yeah.
40 plus 20. I thought it was just
Some
40.
odd $1,000
Okay.
we did not spend because of the COVID issues.
Okay,
I can reach out to Steve Hopkins too, just to get clarity on, what he's said back to you too.
Oh, okay.
It is perfect accounting procedure that you match expenses with the period that they were
Oh, yeah,
they were used. I hear him. He's being inflexible over COVID, but he does have the right accounting principle in mind.
absolutely.
Okay,
it's interesting because I think everywhere is short of Chromebooks. And everybody ordered last year, and they're still not coming in. So it's an interesting statewide issue.
What the same chips are in Chromebooks and iPads are in cars, and you,
sure,
Yes.
yeah.
And computers.
yeah, everything.
Yeah,
curators.
Yeah,
As far as the next meeting goes, should we just stick with the Thursday before the regular meeting?
so October.
so let's see, that will be,
Mary Ellen, we had changed our regular meeting to the Monday.
Monday,
I'm sorry, let me just open my calendar. We had
the
changed
25th.
the 25th, and you expressed concern that you might not be able to go there. So
Yeah, no, I'm there.
you said you might have to go to zoning. Is it gonna be,
Oh, no, that's not, nothing's come up. Nothing's come up for that. It's
okay, then
fine.
I won't feel bad about it. Okay. So
So
that would
Thursday,
mean,
the 21st would be
Yep,
7
I can do-
o'clock.
yep. All right. And it'll probably be a similar agenda. Maybe by then I'll actually have developed the 5-year plan and reformatted it and put everything where it belongs, and I can go over that, so.
Mark, when you do the 5-year plan, are you keeping on, it'd be nice to have the history too, just of the things that have been done, but also paid, or on a
Yeah.
separate sheet of paper, but also paid
Yeah,
out. Versus paid
I
out.
do that. I do the follow-on sheets of what we've done by year,
Yeah,
what
good,
each
great,
task has been by year.
good. Yeah, that'd be great, thank you. Just makes people aware of, what's been happening.
All right. All right, well, I think that's all I had for tonight. So everybody's all set. I think we'll go into adjournment at 7:44.
Okay.
Have a
Thank
good night.
you.